If your job application starts with record a Loom introducing yourself, you're scaring away the best candidates. I understand why you're trying to put a Loom application at the top of the recruitment funnel, but it does the exact opposite of what you want it to do. You want to judge the English level, you want to see how competent they are, see if they have the right skills, if they worked at similar agencies with similar headcounts, if they actually know what they're talking about. But it does the complete opposite. You're not going to get the volume required of candidates to have an understanding of the market, understand if your job is attractive to people who want to work in an agency like yours, and understand if maybe you need to change the requirements of the jobs because you're not getting any applicants. You're simply throttling your chances of success before you even started the recruitment. And if you think about it, the best candidates already have jobs. Expecting them to complete a 5, 10, 15-minute Loom task for a company they've never heard of with zero brand name is not realistic. If you're smaller and you're just a startup and there's not a bunch of people who know about you globally in your space, you need to attract the mass amount of candidates that you can because there's not a bunch of people begging to work with you. You have to generate that demand in the recruitment world. A much better way to do this is have a simple application form. And by simple, I mean several questions, not 15, not 20, not requiring a Loom or a quick HireFlix or some sort of video screening method. Instead, just the name, the email, the phone number, and the resume or LinkedIn. From there, you can see who's actually qualified. You can look at the resume, you can see the LinkedIn, and understand, hey, did this person work in an agency similar to mine? Does this person work in my industry? Are they located in the right country? What's kind of a judge on their English level if they've worked with US companies and client-facing scenarios? You can see this on a resume or on a LinkedIn. From there, you can bring them into screening interviews. So 10, 15 minutes, you're judging some of the English, and you can extend these interviews into longer format interviews where you go more in depth on their experience if you want and if they pass those English qualifications. The problem is if you put too much friction up front, you're just not going to get a lot of applicants. And the ones you get will be very, very desperate for jobs. And that's not always a good thing when you're going in and trying to recruit the best possible applicants. Instead, keep the top of the funnel wide and then do the filtering. It's the exact same in sales and marketing. If I'm running a funnel and I have a type form with 15 different questions, the cost per lead is going to be astronomically high. Those people who apply are going to be very, very qualified. But if they don't close, I'm out a significant amount of money. With recruitment, if you're not doing paid ads, it's just organic, maybe you're posting on LinkedIn, some LinkedIn job ads, what will happen is you're paying with your time if you're not spending money. And so you're going to find you're not getting a lot of applicants. You're going to find that the people who do apply are super desperate. Maybe you get a diamond in the rough, but just one person, you can't make a judgment on if they're right to hire because you only got one final applicant who passed all the tests. After the screening interview, if you do it or if your team member does it, you can record that and have a team member collectively make the decision with you on the quality assurance and the interview feedback. Who do you want to issue a test task to? Now, a test task can be something that's an hour to 2 hours long that you compensate the candidate for to ensure that they actually complete it. It doesn't need to be a crazy amount, $100, $200, anything like that. It'd be 15, 20, whatever the hourly rate is that it takes for them to complete it. And it needs to be relevant to what they'll actually be doing on the job. So if they're an e-commerce email designer, designing emails, maybe you give them a brief of how you would actually work with them and they design part of an email. They come up with a sending campaign. That's a very good test task. Let's say if we do this with numbers, you have 100 people who apply, maybe you bring 25 of them to interviews. From there, you decide maybe there's 10 that need that test task. Some of the people won't do the test task, or they'll turn in a test task that's not accurate. From that test task, you'd expect 5 or 3 final candidates, and then you can bring them to second round interviews past that, or you can extend an offer from there. This is the fastest way to do it in under a 2-week timeline, instead of trying to front load and make it super easy for you with just reviewing Looms, inviting a passive applicant to an interview, and not having enough people to understand if your job offer is actually appropriate in the market. You could be misaligned on salary, and that's why not a lot of people are applying. But you can't tell that if you have a Loom step or a bunch of application form questions, because you're just not going to get the required volume to be able to make those tweaks in your recruitment funnel. At Zaboda, what we've done is we've done this for hundreds of companies and hundreds of different roles, a dozen different niches, from e-commerce email to local healthcare companies and local businesses. And so if you need help with recruitment, your recruitment funnel, if you want this done for you, this entire funnel in the fastest possible way, let us know by going to zaboda.io, and we look forward to working with you.